Hope you're sitting comfortably, mate. We've got a sensor issue, and we're going to be stuck here for a while as we fix it. So, we'd like to run the acclimatization program if you have a chance before qualifying. It'll give us a good indication of our relative pace and consistency. At the end of this session, we need to return 2 sets of tyres. We'll give back the 2 most worn sets, so we may as well get the most out of them while we can. They won't be available for the rest of the weekend, though, so don't run too hard on anything you might need later on. Okay, the track is green right now, so take a few laps to get the tyres up to temperature. Try and feel your way around. 2 laps of fuel left. Okay, just want to remind you to keep an eye on your tyre temperatures, which you can do on the temperature panel of the MFD. We monitor carcass temperature and surface temperature, and you'll get car repairs have set us back a little. All personnel be aware, car leaving. Approaching the DRS zone, watch your MFD for the activation point. That's looking good. Now let's try for purple. You'll get a bonus for consistency if you can chain good corners together. This is the final lap of the program. That's the end of the program and plenty of useful data. Return to base when you can so we can go over it. We've had to spend time repairing the damage to the car. I know it's tempting to focus entirely on the race, but we should put a bit of time aside to run the qualifying sim program. Try to run it before the end of FP3 if you can. Our best lap so far is a 1:41.7. This test is all about tyre management. Try to control the slip through each corner and take extra care putting the power down at the apex. Program complete and a job well done. Carl probably mentioned the new parts that have come in from the factory. Well, they're all fitted and good to go. I hope they do the trick.
Other reaction.
So you get like one of those trade union people and it has like the extra production thing?
Yeah. Also, there's specialists that you can use to change the input goods of various buildings. And once you've played the game a lot more, you get a much better idea of, oh, a trade union item that's not even rare. Like it's quote unquote rare, but it's not epic or legendary or whatever, right? Like it's pretty easy to come by. You can just buy it from Eli Bleakworth, called Costume Designer. And the Costume Designer takes your fur dealer and changes the input from cotton fabric, which you have to import from the New World, to wool, which you get with sheep farms. So basically, as soon as you get that item, you completely shut down your cotton fabric production in the New World. Like, completely just delete all of it.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah. And then switch your focus to coffee or chocolate, or tobacco, which are all much, much more profitable. And then you just have, like, some cheap, like, sheep farms taking place of, like, this expanse of cotton farming.
Yeah, I was going to say, because cotton farms are massive, too, I think.
Yeah. And one of the other interesting ones is there's one that I just got for your coffee roaster that increases productivity and creates coffee beans as a byproduct of the coffee roasting process. So for every 2 coffee outputs, it creates 1 coffee bean dramatically increasing the efficiency. So you have to farm way less coffee. You just put all your coffee roasters in range of this thing, and you have to farm like a fraction as much coffee.
For the salvaging thing, did you want the rare items that you got from diving more, or did you want the salvage itself more?
That I don't know. I don't know much about salvage.
Okay.
Apparently there's echo. Wait, do I have full plane open still? No.
It's not picking up my mic.
Is it webcam mic?
Is it? Oh, they think it's the wrong mic. Input device.
That's weird.
I don't know why it would have changed.
Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. Yeah. How did I not notice that? You sounded like butt. That's much better.
Oh, wait. I don't. What? I haven't changed my mic on Discord like ever.
Every time I open Discord, it's like, would you like to change your audio device? No, I wouldn't. Stop asking.
Yeah, maybe
please.
it. Yeah, I guess people know that I have a new computer, right?
Flowplane sure does.
Oh, right. That's fair. I've been keeping the specs of it under wraps just in case people don't see it. So,
Every time I open
but
Discord, it's like,
the motherboard's actually stable now. So I do a lot more of turning my computer off.
nice.
I don't have to like seriously be concerned about it being able to turn back on.
Nice.
So maybe when I restarted it like lost the default input device or something.
I just realized not only is the show on time-ish, but it's daylight savings time. So the show is like hella early.
Oh, for some people.
For a lot of people, yes. So that's interesting.
Wait, so should we wait?
I don't know.
Doesn't make a huge difference to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, either way, I guess. There's just so I bought an item in our multiplayer game. I told you about this at the end. I bought an item that makes it so that when I do diving bell activities, there's a way higher chance that I get rare and legendary items. And the very first time I did a dive after I bought it, I got a legendary item.
Oh, nice.
It's like, well, that's pretty sick. I don't know if that was like I just rolled the dice high the first time I ever did it, or if that just means we're going to get a lot more of those now. But there's also another one, which makes it so you get way more scrap. And you use scrap to buy the items, essentially. Because you don't buy the items with money. You buy the items with scrap and then a little bit of material. It's mostly scrap, though. And then you can buy the like money expenditure that goes into it is that you can buy the treasure maps.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it because some of the stuff is like people.
It's mostly trade union. And I know we don't like trade union.
No, I'm super into trade union now. That's the new development.
Okay. But we don't have influence.
For example, okay, so also influence, not too bad. You just gotta get your coffee sorted out. Coffee's the big challenge. So initially, when I was early into the game, I thought fur coats were like the big deal. And so I'd spend all this time like building up this enormous cotton infrastructure, and I didn't know how to use the like the statistics menu properly. So I didn't know how to see like proportionally how many fur coats you need compared to like coffee or bicycles or whatever else. So I spent all this time like getting fur coats perfected, and I was like, oh no, actually like coffee's the problem. You need like 3 tons of coffee for every ton of fur coats or something stupid like that once you get to engineers and investors. So anyway, once you get your coffee sorted out and you start getting your investor population built up, influence is kind of like not a problem anymore. Also, you start getting items that you can deploy in. I even use town halls now. So I found a really cool item that I deployed in a town hall in on my engineer island. That's what I call it. I have investor island, engineer island, and then pleb island. So engineer island has this. Is it a palace policy or an item? I can't remember. But basically, it gives +1 influence for engineer residences. Yes, that's right. So +1 influence for engineer residences that are within the sphere of a town hall that is connected to this branch office of the palace or something like that. So all of a sudden,
They only give one by default, right? So you basically doubled those.
engineers don't give any. Investors give +1.
Oh, okay.
So now
Nice.
I get it for engineers and investors.
Yeah.
And then one of the other really cool ones that I found, I don't look up anything for this game because I kind of like the voyage of discovery. But one of the other cool ones I found allows you to substitute your gold for brass for your pocket watch maker.
We have a lot of that kind of stuff already.
I haven't even like looked at it before because I was like, oh no, I'll just build supply chains normally. No.
We just like for real, we have tons of those things. We have legendary trade union people, I'm pretty sure. We have lots of like rare and epic ones.
So I'm gonna have to look into that. Maybe we'll play after Wancho.
Yeah, I'm down, definitely. Yeah, like the only thing I've really looked up online was like how the heck to even start salvaging. And then once I'm like, okay, I know how to begin, then I kind of stopped because I feel the same way. Anno is a game that I think feeds very well into self-learning instead of like needing to look everything up. Yeah.
So yeah, costume designer is way OP. You use wool instead of cotton fabric, so you don't need cotton farms.
I think we have one of those.
Oh, we definitely do. They're cheap. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, once you get your economy figured out, you can basically just buy a lot of the items that you need. You just like roll the dice over and over and over again. Like I think I'm making like 250,000 a tick right now. So I'll just sit there at one of the harbors and I'll just roll the RNG over and over and over again to buy whatever I need. One of the big ones that I'm getting into now is items on the ships that increase or decrease rather loading speed at the docks. So then you don't need to have so many piers for loading and unloading ships. We're talking about Anno 1800. Sorry guys, it's a weird game that not everyone would be into.
It's pretty cool though. I've been itching for it a little bit because it's been kind of we played it like a bunch there over the course of like maybe a week or two and then kind of stopped. Not that I had much time this last week, but what was I going to say? Yeah, I kind of wanted to like get into it myself, but then every single time I like almost launched the game, I was just like, oh, but I have to do the other part. maybe I won't.
Man, I think Anno might be my highest playtime game now. And
like ever?
That's not it just sitting idling either. Where do you check that in your
I have no
your
clue.
profile in Steam, I guess?
Well, do you have the playtime from Uplay?
Yeah. My playtime in Anno is 437 hours.
Whew.
Steam.
There's got to be a way. Recent activity. Filter by.
Yeah, I don't know how to check. Library.
I don't know.
Can you sort by?
I know if you click on a specific game, you can see, but I don't know how to like sort it by that or filter that way or anything like that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
YouTube is not live. This is the pre-show.
Yep, we know, guys. Team Fortress 2, I have 228 hours. And that's like actual gaming time. In fact, actually, you know what? I might have more than that in Team Fortress 2 because I think that's pre them actually logging it. Left 4 Dead 1,
I was pretty sure I had way more. I have 67.7 hours of Team Fortress 2, but I remember playing like with my dad a lot and like getting actually like pretty into it.
Left 4 Dead, I have 236 hours, but again, I don't know when they started logging playtime. So Left 4 Dead is one that I played a lot. Team Fortress 2 is also one I played a lot. Those are probably the ones that I played the most in my life, other than apparently Anno, which is now way more.
I've told you about my Slay the Spire time, right?
No.
because okay, so there's
200 hours in Beat Saber.
that's cool though. That's a good thing. So Slay the Spire, there's the normal game, and you can save the normal game. But then there's this other form that I got really into for quite a while called Daily Challenge. You can't save daily challenges because it's supposed to be for that day, right? But Slay the Spire is a really long game, and playing a whole game of it in a day is like often not very feasible.
Right.
Like it takes a long time. And some of the daily challenges are really cool and like really challenging. And it's a strategy game that is turn-based. So you want to like take your time to make sure you go through it properly, right?
Right. So you just leave it idling?
Oh yeah. Sometimes for days, sometimes for over a week. Just I don't know. I might not necessarily feel like playing Slay the Spire, but I don't want to lose my daily challenge.
Right.
And it's like a card game.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. It's like a deck builder kind of thing. Yeah,
it's a deck builder roguelike card game that like performs very well on the Switch because the Switch is way too powerful to run it. Right. Like it doesn't take any resources when you leave it idle in the background. So I just don't care, right? I'll just leave it there for however long, whatever. So I have 4,000 hours in Slay the Spire.
Nice.
I think if you go based off that, it's the longest I've played any time in like ever.
That's awesome.
Absolutely obscene.
Someone asks, what is Crosscode? You have a lot of hours in that. Lol. Yeah, Crosscode's a great game. It's a single player RPG, kind of like classic, SNES era style, but with a lot of more modern sort of features like auto-saving and such. The reason my playtime's so high on that is because A, I did accidentally leave it idling a few times, and B, I played it all the way through, and then my son played it all the way through on the same account.
Yeah.
There's easily like 60 plus real hours. Oh, Breath of the Wild. I put a ridiculous amount of time into Breath of the Wild because I was traveling a lot when I got that game. So I would literally go on a work trip and I would sit and play for 2 hours while I waited for my flight. I would sit and play for 7 hours on my flight. I would get wherever I'm going. I would sit and play for 3 hours before I went to bed. Like, I was putting in 10 plus hours a day in Breath of the Wild. And then I would wake up, I would go shoot my video or whatever, and then I would do the exact same thing the next day. I put a stupid amount of hours into Breath of the Wild.
Are you interested in Breath of the Wild 2?
No, I'm not at all, actually. I don't know what it is, but I felt like I really enjoyed that game. I really loved it, and now it's done.
Yeah, that's good.
I didn't even get the DLC. I just didn't care. A Crosscode I need to buy the DLC for, not because I actually want to play it. That one too. It was a really tight, really well done experience, but now it's done. But I just want to support the developer because it's exactly the kind of game. Like, you know how you and I have talked about, like, man, wouldn't it be cool to like put a team together and like make a sick like RPG game? Now I don't have to because what's their face, Radical Fish or whatever the developers called for Crosscode. They basically made what like I would have made if I was smart and talented and had a good vision for it. So I'm just like, oh, hey, thanks guys. This saves me a lot of money. I'll buy 2 copies.
Someone said you can go to account games sort by playtime. Where's account? People keep on giving like directions to get to how to sort by playtime, but
account details maybe.
Is that it?
I don't know. Account details. Okay.
They say go to account. Someone says go to library, all games, sort by hours played, and then someone else said something else. Oh, geez.
Sort by recent activities. Sort by. I don't even see a sort by though.
I don't know where the message went. That's the thing. Yeah, there's like a filter button, and I clicked on that. And there's no game time or anything.
Show only ready to play games. Yeah, I don't know. Steam profile games. Then they should be in order. Steam profile. Like I see. Okay, view my profile. Yeah, I'm in there.
Click on your username at the top, then click on profile, then click on games on the right. Username at the top. Click on view my profile. And then games.
Ah, I see it. There it is. PC Mark 8. That is my most played game.
Okay, yeah.
Also up there is ones that I knew. So Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress 2, Beat Saber. Those are all above 2 hours or 200 hours. Dragon Age Origins. I forgot. I played the crap out of that
That was
game.
a really good game.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it. There's some Oh, go ahead.
Slay the Spire is like many times more than anything else. My next one is Counter-Strike Go with almost 800 hours, but that kind of makes sense because that game's just really old.
Wow,
like there's actually kind of few points in times where I was really into it. For a while there, I used to stream almost exclusively that. I used to do these like weird community events. I don't know if you ever saw that. Like I did something on Dust 2 where both teams started at like opposing ends of the map.
Yeah.
And you could only run in one direction. So it created this like giant whirlpool, and it was about like trying to move efficiently so you could catch up with the other team and get away from the people that were trying to chase you. Then you could shoot them in the back. And like I did all these like other weird event things too. I used to do that a lot. But that's my highest game that isn't kind of cheesed.
I have 72 hours on Fat Prisoner Simulator, but I think that's probably just because I accidentally left that on for a week. And there's some games that are not Steam that I had a lot of hours in. I know this is going to be very unpopular, but Oblivion.
Why would that be unpopular?
Well, because everyone's like, oh no, Oblivion's like the middle child. It's the bad Elder Scrolls game. And I'm like,
what?
I don't know. I
don't hear that hot take often. Oblivion's amazing.
I enjoyed it.
Morrowind's my favorite game of all time, but Oblivion is fantastic. And if I played Oblivion first, I guarantee you it would be my favorite game of all time. Morrowind was just my first introduction to the series. Right. There are also some things that I prefer about Morrowind, but Oblivion is much more clean. Like it's
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
And
like Oblivion going back is still very playable. Morrowind going back is not very playable.
Yeah, I think you tried to convince me. Not you tried to convince me. You convinced me to go and like play Morrowind, and I gave it a shot, and I walked like 100 meters down some path, and I got absolutely like shit kicked by some dragon or something, and I was like, okay, training wheels off, I guess.
It is very much like that for sure. It's a fantastic game, but it feels very 2004, like extremely, or even earlier than that potentially. And Oblivion feels much more like a more modern take on that game.
I mean, there were things that were weird about it, like the kind of glassy-eyed NPCs and stuff like that. I honestly, I prefer RPGs that just don't do full voice acting. It adds so much cost and so much time to game development. And as someone who prefers to read things anyway, especially the ones where they force you to sit and listen to the voice acting instead of just allowing you to skip through it. And when you skip through it, they'll be like, welcome to Raven. I am so pleased to it's just worse. I like text. I like text. People are talking about like great games in the Twitch chat. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, so good. I loved that game.
Have you? Yeah, you've done this for sure.
Really good hack and slasher.
When you look up like best games of 2004, and it's just this like massive list. 2004 was an incredible year for gaming.
Wasn't that the year that like Half-Life 2 also came out and like basically that year.
2004 was insane.
Wow, Halo 2, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Sims 2. Sims 2 changed the game for Sims. Rome Total War. Oh man, there is some really good stuff.
Original Monster Hunter, GTA
Far
San Andreas,
Cry.
3, Katamari Damacy.
I still have to play UT 2004. Wait, Need for Speed Underground 2 was 2004?
So was Counter-Strike Source, so was Thief Deadly Shadows, so was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Underappreciated game. Battle for Middle-earth. So good. Did you ever play it?
I did, actually. Not much, because I came to it way after the fact, and then it didn't, most things from 2004, they haven't really aged super well since then, but...
Yeah.
Red Dead Revolver, which is what turned into the Red Dead series. So maybe not necessarily itself. I never played it, but definitely the games that it turned into are like legendary. Sid Meier's Pirates.
I never played Rise of Nations. It's supposed to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, yeah. Oh, what a thing. Look at that.
Yeah, 2004 was bonkers. Just absolutely incredible.
It's amazing how well Google knows me. It just like didn't bother putting any console games in my list when I like searched best games of 2004.
Halo 2 came up, didn't it? Didn't you say that?
Didn't it come out on PC though?
Oh, maybe it did. Yeah.
I might be wrong. I might just like totally not remember the timeline for that.
Mag rated it.
Blah 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 blah. Gears of War, blah blah. Xbox, blah blah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember the details.
Platforms: Xbox, Microsoft Windows. Unless they're currently talking about like the Master Chief Collection, which Wikipedia could be, but.
All right, we should probably start WAN show at some point.
Sure. So with daylight savings time, or whatever,
we'll be half an hour early for some people, which isn't too bad.
That sounds kind of nicely in the middle to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Okay. People are messaging me on Le Teams. Let me just turn that off with the Windows Le volume mixer. Great. See you later. Okay. Is there anything else we were supposed to do pre-show start here? I feel like I'm missing something. I already turned off the thing. Oh, I haven't put the sponsor spots in OBS yet. Derp.
Why is Halo? Halo 2 didn't release in 2007. What are you talking about? Oh, the PC port came out in 2007. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, never mind. There were some console games in there. I mean, maybe, it's just the Xbox is a PC now, so whatever. It's kind of crazy how smooth that happened. Just like Microsoft's like consoles. PC, now it's a PC. That. Ooh, you didn't even see that.
You called it years early, though. Not necessarily that it would just be Xbox, but I mean, I think in general we were like every console version. It's like it's just a computer in a box. They take CDs now. It's not cartridges. Like
they take CDs now.
It's a
CDs! You're aging yourself here. Or you're dating yourself rather.
They take discs.
Yep, and some of them don't. Although apparently the digital PS5 is not selling that well.
Really?
I mean, would you buy it? Like having the option of picking up used games is like can pay for itself. Pretty fast.
You're a console gamer, I think the chance that you like COD probably goes up by a little bit, and that's like a 200 gigabyte game, isn't it? Something like that. I don't want to download that. Even on fast internet, I don't want to download that.
Yeah. There's not a lot of instant gratification. Then again, I mean, it's like, depending how fast your internet is, it could be slower to stream it off a disc anyway, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. Okay. All right.
People not springing for the disc version of the PlayStation don't have internet speeds quite that fast.
That's fair. Also, the patches are bigger than the game. Hilarious.
I guess. I mean, that's probably fair.
Some people are saying they sold fine. They just intentionally underproduced them. Yeah, that could be. Yep.
Oh no, you can't buy the cheap one. Guess you'll have to get the expensive one.
Oopsie daisies.
Jaden says my PS4 has never seen a disc.
Yeah. All right, shall we?
Yeah.
I'm punching it. You ready? I'm doing it. Yeah. All right. You sure?
Yes, sir.
All right. Resuming selected.
Am I in the right spot? Am I in a good spot?
Oh yeah, you're in a great spot.
Heck yeah.
I'm a little low, but there's nothing I can do about that now. It's too late. Nice. LTTstore.com.
It's right there. It's on the thing. No, it wasn't right there, but now it is.
It's somewhere. You got this. And welcome to the WAN Show, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a fantastic show for you guys today, starting, of course, with NVIDIA's spectacular self-own this week with their RTX 3060 unhackable mining limited driver getting hacked, but also not really hacked. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. We've also got AMD launching the RX 6700 XT, which hasn't had its mining capabilities nerfed, but quite frankly didn't need any of its capabilities nerfed. Yay! Also, what else we got?
11th gen core lineup has been released because we definitely wanted to keep saying products names that sound somewhat like the previous generation at all. That's very cool. I'm excited to say 11,700 and stuff like that. And also, where did it go? I wanted to, yes, Google slashes Play Store fees with a twist, of course.
Interesting. Oh, wow. That's very interesting. Okay. I had not looked at that. So let's roll the intro. Man, I love that it says the time of the show, and it's just like, yeah, the show kind of happens whenever it happens. I think there's between daylight savings time and the fact that we were super late last week and a little early this week, there's like a 4-hour difference between the show start time from one week to the next. Thank you guys very much for your patience with us. Let's jump right into our headline topic because otherwise people get upset. The unhackable RTX 3060 has been hacked. For those of you who haven't been following what's been going on with the RTX 3060, NVIDIA said in the lead up to the release of this card that the driver, firmware, and I think it's mostly down to the driver and firmware of the card, we're going to have a handshake that we're basically going to make it so that the card would be able to detect if it was mining Ethereum and then throttle its performance in that particular workload until it's stopped and it goes back to gaming or rendering or whatever the case may be. And NVIDIA said that because there's this firmware driver handshake that's taking place and it's all encrypted and validated and whatever, that this performance lock would be unhackable. And they said the goal of this endeavor was to make it so that RTX 3060s would not be appealing to miners, hopefully decreasing the demand for them from scalpers, making it so that gamers could buy them at a reasonable price. Of course, we talked through sort of why NVIDIA's actions seem to have more to do with protecting their bottom line and less to do with actually protecting gamers from opportunistic scalpers. But you can watch the whole video about that if you really want to. But one of the things we also talked about was that NVIDIA's actions here not only don't really do anything to protect gamers, we didn't think they were going to do anything to prevent miners from utilizing these cards. And one of the big key steps in defeating NVIDIA's cryptocurrency mining block has already taken place. Now, usually something getting hacked is not as simple as just like, you get into the mainframe and you get the Control-Alt-Delete in there. You
type really fast and then suddenly it gives
you get the matrix code coming down. It's not usually the way it works. I mean, you look at a project like the iPhone. It's a never-ending battle because there's always new hardware, there's always new software updates, there's always new workarounds, and it's like this game of cat and mouse. Or you look at something that where the hardware doesn't change. Something like a Nintendo console. You go back to the R4 cards on the DS, or you look at the Android. I don't know what to call it. Yeah, I guess it's probably a hack. The Android hack on the Nintendo Switch. Those are things that little by little by little by little, what is usually a very dedicated and usually very small community chips away. So, first they need to pass some key hurdles. They need to get, like root access, for example. They need to break the bootloader. Like they need to kind of get past these hurdles. And then once they do that, it's like, oh, yay, now we've got Android running on it. Because it's just a Tegra chip. So like, obviously it could run on it, but oh, wait, Nintendo has a totally different way of implementing Bluetooth because Nintendo lives on a different planet where Bluetooth wireless in-ear headphones aren't a thing and no one would want to use that or whatever, so, Bluetooth doesn't work and Wi-Fi doesn't work. And you got to kind of chip away at these things little by little. But one of the key tools in any hacker's toolkit is a proof of concept, right? Having it working in some small way so that you can take that solution and then trace the path back to create a better solution. So to be clear, it's not like people can build a mining farm out of 3060s right now. In fact, my understanding is you can only mine at full speed on it if you have it connected to an external display and if it is the only 3060 in the system. But this is still a major win because once you have it working that's
a lot less of things that are limiting you from doing what you want to get out of the way.
Exactly.
You now have it mining. You have very clear steps forward. Now you need to try to get rid of the monitor limitation and the only 3060 limitation, and then you're going.
Yes, and it also gives you so basically what happened was NVIDIA NVIDIA accidentally released a developer driver that did not have the mining limiter implemented, version 470.05. It requires a developer account, but anyone can be instantly verified for a developer account and allowed these cards to mine at 40 to 50 megahashes per second instead of 20 to 25. Whew. Yeah, so one of the other things...
I think this part was already mentioned, but this isn't actually like really good for gamers before you get your hopes up because you're stuck on that driver. And game-ready drivers are kind of a thing, so big yikes.
So one of the other things that having a working version to compare to your blocked version does is it allows you to look at how the system behaves differently when it's working versus when it's blocked, so you can try and reverse engineer how the block works. And yeah, one of the things that's, like Luke said, is a real bummer about this is that while this does prevent commercial miners from getting the most out of these 3060s for now, what it doesn't do is allow individual gamers to recoup some of the cost from their card by just mining on the side if they want to get the best performance and the best feature compatibility in the latest games, like with a game-ready driver.
As a gamer probably would.
One of the other problems that this presents for gamers too is that if the news keeps coming like this, oh hey, now it's working with a monitor attached, and now it's working with no monitor attached, but you can just have one in the system. Oh, now it's working this way. Miners will continue to grab these cards at every possible opportunity because A, it's already profitable anyway, even with the nerf, and B, if there's hope that the profitability of it could go up, well then they're obviously going to want to get them while they can because the price of these things is only going to go higher. Now, the upcoming 3080 Ti, or the rumored upcoming 3080 Ti, is rumored to have a similar mining performance nerf on release, but if the feature is implemented in the same way, whatever workaround that now miners have access to, one way, or now they can at least observe whatever workaround they build for this could potentially be used for new cards as well. So Phoenix Miner developers claim to be working on a kernel level update. This is over a week ago. So even if NVIDIA rolls back the drivers or makes it more difficult to gain access to developer tools, others are still hard at work trying to remove the blocker. And then one of the other key pillars of NVIDIA's sort of segmentation of the market between gamers and miners is creating their mining only cards. And my big objections here, a lot of people misunderstood that video. It was kind of shocking. People were like, what are you mad? NVIDIA is trying to make money? They're a company, they got to make money. No, I never said that. I run a company that tries to make money. I mean, I even made it very clear, I thought, in the video with my sort of cheeky segue to our sponsor that I got no problem. People got to eat. I got to eat. Luke's got to eat. Luke, you got to eat, right?
Yep, sometimes.
Man's got to eat, okay? I got no problem with that. The problem is presenting what is a blatant business move as some kind of magnanimous gift that you're giving to gamers. It's not. So don't pretend it is. If NVIDIA had released mining cards and said, yep, we're releasing mining cards, I'd have said, okay. We'd have talked about it on WAN Show or Tech Linked or whatever. I wouldn't have made a whole video about it.
It might have been like a little disappointed due to silicon shortage and stuff like that, but wouldn't have been nearly as big of a deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said NVIDIA doesn't care about gamers because NVIDIA wouldn't have pretended that the move was about caring about gamers. So I might have said, I'm disappointed at the amount of unnecessary e-waste. And to be clear, a gaming card is e-waste too, but this is in the video. It's always obvious when someone comments and they haven't actually watched the video. This is in the video. I'm not telling you guys don't buy a graphics card because it's e-waste. I mean, yeah, sure, that might be the environmentally responsible thing to do. But what I'm saying is, you know what, that's bad enough already. Why don't we not make it worse on purpose? So instead of manufacturing cards that have literally no purpose other than to suck up power and then go to a landfill, why don't we just put a display connection on it so that at least once it's done its life as a mining card, it can go be a gaming card, or vice versa for that matter. I called on them in that video to just unlock the mining capabilities of it because the lock, as I said, and has come to pass, didn't do anything. Miners are still buying all the cards and they're figuring out how to work around it already anyway. So why not just let retail gamers mine a little bit of Ethereum on the side, which is kind of my whole there. That's kind of everything I have to say. Oh, there's also the separate issue that the CMP mining cards seem to be based on, are they based on Pascal or Turing? I can't remember. The point is they actually don't appear to be Ampere anyway. And the performance per watt seems to be like kind of terrible. Meaning that I don't even,
So there's been a decent amount of rumors that it's basically just they're like garbage,
and
like
so
that, like, had die issues and stuff, and they're just like, ship it.
Well, no, NVIDIA made that very clear that these did not meet their requirements for GeForce.
But there's been rumors that it's like worse than we thought.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you know what? Fair enough, I guess. But then. I just, looking at the numbers, I don't see why anyone would buy them. They're extremely expensive. They consume too much power for the hash rate. And honestly, I would just rather that instead of creating artificially segmented products, manufacturers just make the best thing they can and then let it be as useful as it can. Like I've talked about these same things, whether it's Intel locking out ECC memory compatibility on their core chips, or whether it's NVIDIA or AMD for that matter, locking out, performance capabilities in professional applications on their non-Quadro or non-Fire cards. It's something I find very frustrating in general. Or whether it's Tesla, including rear heated seats, and then you pay to, allow the electrons to flow. I find it very frustrating, even though I do understand the business cases around building features in that way. Now, particularly something like Quadro or Fire, I find it a little less offensive because there really is significant driver development work. This is so essentially you're not buying hardware at that point. You are buying software. There is significant development work that goes into validating those products for these professional applications. It's the for no apparent reason functionality locks, like, you know, canning the double precision floating point performance of a Titan, for example, that can be very frustrating. Back to my point about retail gamers, like individual gamers making back some of their money by mining. There's been a bit of controversy around our NiceHash sponsorship earlier this week, and I just want to take a bit of time to address that. First of all, there's the people that are upset that I appear to be flip-flopping on the issue of mining. I don't believe I have ever flip-flopped in any way. I mean, we've always been kind of tepid on it. We are pro the technology. I believe in cryptocurrency for realsies. I think that some form of blockchain currency could be the answer to a lot of our problems. I don't think that Bitcoin is necessarily it. There's a lot of problems with a lot of the current cryptocurrency and, for that matter, blockchain technologies. But I do fundamentally believe in the concept. So there's that. I am not a huge fan of large-scale mining operations. I don't think that was ever really what the creators had in mind, was individuals filling entire warehouses with these ASIC miners that serve no purpose other than to, you know, tackle the ever-increasing difficulty of performing these calculations. I don't imagine that's what they imagined, because the whole idea behind a decentralized currency is that you don't have these centralized sort of power brokers in the space. I thought the idea really was individuals with, you know, a GPU or their CPU or whatever, you know, crunching these numbers on the side, and so that it was like truly very decentralized. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that really was what they intended. That was never the way I interpreted it. So I've never really had an objection to individuals mining. In fact, we did a whole series about it in 2018. I am bothered by it not being possible for individual gamers to get the hardware that they need to enjoy video games, which I love, and I think you guys love, at a fair price. That bothers me. Opportunistic money making, bothers me. To be clear, I don't think it's the same as people who were going in and scooping up all the toilet paper or hand sanitizer in the early days of the pandemic. Gaming hardware is not. It's not an essential product in the same way that, you know, soap is. But it definitely rubs me the wrong way when people post a picture on Instagram of 100 RTX 3080s and they're selling them for 3 times the retail price. So with all of that said, so some people were upset that I appeared to be flip-flopping on the issue of mining. So that's my stance on it. And I don't think that anything that I said in that video or before that video conflicts with that stance. However, there were also people that were really unhappy with NiceHash's history. So one of NiceHash's founders has a spotty history that, frankly, I was not aware of. Sometimes we catch red flags in companies before we work with them. Sometimes the community catches them and we say, okay, you guys don't like this. Let's not do this anymore. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. And it looks like that's where we're going with this one. So you guys don't like it. It's done. We did talk to NiceHash about the issue. To be clear, there's lots of people at NiceHash who are not that founder. So I'm not super into punishing one person for the actions of another, which they have already been, as far as I can tell, actually punished for. But if it's something that you guys aren't comfortable with, especially because this is software that runs in the background on your machine, then 100%, we get it. We read you guys loud and clear. It's done. It's gone. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that, other than, you know, thank you for bringing the issue to our attention. I mean, we've consulted with you guys before when we decided to keep working with PIA after their acquisition. That was something that we publicly talked to you guys about with VPNs. It was an area where we knew, you know, the landscape was already covered in mines. Whereas this was one where, honestly, we didn't think about it that much. NiceHash, it's like, yeah, they've had some issues in the past that we were aware of, like the hack where a bunch of people lost their coin. They returned all the coin. We thought that was pretty like good guy NiceHash. It's a lot better than faking your own death and pretending the coins never existed. Now, you might laugh, but that is a thing that people strongly suspect happened. Was that ever confirmed?
Oh, no. I'm self-laughing because that's where all my coin went.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry about that.
I
Anyway.
even had hardware wallets. They showed up that week, and I hadn't moved the stuff into it yet.
Anyway, so there's that. Anyway, we thought they did a pretty good job of dealing with that. It's software that I and Jake and Luke, do you use NiceHash, or have you?
I did way in the past.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, but yeah.
It's software we've all used and been happy with. So as far as, our due diligence went, we were like, yeah, it's a good program. We like it. We have no problem with people mining on the side and making a couple bucks. I've even got a comment from someone in Floatplane chat here. Hold on. I think I paused the chat earlier, but it seems like it stopped being paused. They're like, yeah, hey, thanks for making that NiceHash video. I made $50 so far. Like, yep. So lots of people were, sorry?
I said, that's a lot to make in that time. But I guess like if you're a household too, like if you have 2 or more gaming computers, it can add up really quickly. Yeah.
So, you know what? That's pretty much it. So yeah, some people were upset, not unjustifiably so. Some people weren't upset and were like, hey, thanks for bringing this to my attention. I had no idea it was this easy. So we're not taking the video down. But we're also just going to sunset working with NiceHash, or for that matter, just any cryptocurrency, anything for a while here. And we'll come back to you guys. We'll talk to you guys if there's a deal that looks like we think it makes sense, and we'll make sure that you guys agree before we do anything else like that. I mean, it's not the only category that we've just gone, you know what, this is too controversial. I don't want anything to do with it. You know what? No, I'm not going to name any other ones because I think it's going to make it too clear exactly, who made a stink and what was problematic and who we cut off. I don't want to get into that, but there are other categories that we just outright don't touch. I mean, one example that we've never touched. Oh, what's that?
I just thought of one.
Gray market keys are one that we just avoid altogether. Some people work with them. We don't judge them, but it's just something we've never been comfortable with. Fair Ann says, I think one of the big issues on NiceHash was the Phoenix ordeal. I don't know the full details of what happened between them. It's honestly a little over my head. More than 2 minutes of reading was all I was really willing to put into it, because by that point I had already decided this just isn't worth it. We're not gonna do this anymore. So it's not that I don't care. It's just that it didn't factor into my decision because it was already made. So I haven't spent a bunch of time.
I do think that spurred a lot of the community backlash. There's been definitely some emotions flying in that space, but yeah.
Tim SP says, and what about not talking about the environmental impacts of crypto? So again, I don't think that the intent of cryptocurrency was for all of the Bitcoin to get mined in such short order, to have these, the power of a country, running this thing. I don't think that was the point of it. And if it was actually being used the way it was supposed to be used, I don't think it would be as big of a problem. And I specifically said in the video that if you're using electric heat for your house, this is a way that you can make money instead of spending money with your electric heating. It's not that I support, putting your mining rig in an air-conditioned room, I don't think that's responsible. I don't want people, running out and wasting power either. But I also, again, don't think that small-scale mining from retail gamers is the fundamental problem here. Let me just see if there's anyone else talking. All right. Yep.
Can I segue you?
Yeah. Hit me. What are we talking about now?
Speaking of retail, Bridge Wallet.
Oh, are we doing sponsors?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But oh crud. Is this the Ridge Wallet spot? It doesn't even have the link.
The doc shows 3 different.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Ridge Wallet, ridge.com/WAN. Yeah. Okay. Oh, 8th anniversary. Wait. Ridge Wallet's doing an 8th anniversary offer. Ridge Wallet helps you carry less. They use 2 metal plates that are bound by a strong elastic band to keep your cards tightly together, but still easily accessible. And they're celebrating their 8th anniversary of their successful funding and the launch of ridgewallet.com by giving 15%, at least 15% off site-wide at the link down below. The Ridge was launched on Kickstarter by a father-son team, Daniel and Paul Kane, and since their launch, they've sold over 1 million wallets. Damn, Daniel.
That's a lot.
And Paul.
That's a lot of wallets.
Get it? Because that's their names. It doesn't matter. They offer lots of new materials, dozens of colors. They've got a nicer logo now. They've come a long way, and they're offering 15% off site-wide. They got a lot more than just wallets, so go check them out. They got like battery banks and all kinds of cool stuff. The show is also brought to you by Remote HQ. It's a work from home culture for most offices now, and Remote HQ is going to help you out with that because it can be a bit of a pain to collaborate with your team, even if you do save the time commuting to and from the office. It integrates apps such as Chrome, Google Drive, YouTube, and Microsoft Office into one meeting platform, allowing members of your meeting to interact and make changes on the same screen. With Remote HQ, you can seamlessly take control when you need to, then give it back, and it's browser-based, so you don't need to download anything to use it. Remote HQ lets you work together as though you're in the same room, and you don't have to take my word for it. Try it out for free for 3 months at remotehq.com/WANshow, and just make sure that you use code WAN so you get that 3 months for free. And speaking of controversial sponsors, private internet access. Private internet access, man, the number of people that think we are sponsored by other VPNs and are like, Linus, this is sponsorship from this VPN that we've never actually worked with. And the number of people that are upset about sort of misleading VPN marketing, it's crazy. Because with PIA, no, we don't work with other VPNs. We have in the past. Our total VPN history, you know, like when you meet someone and you're like, all right, how many? Okay. My VPN history is okay. What we got? Hotspot Shield, Tunnel Bear.
A few notches on the belt.
Sorry.
Got a few notches on the belt.
Yeah, not that many though.
Not a huge amount.
I mean, wasn't that it? Hotspot Shield and Tunnel Bear.
Those are the only ones I remember.
I think so.
Yeah.
Then PIA. Okay. So PIA, those are the only VPNs we've ever worked with, and PIA is the only one we've been working with for years now, and their marketing is literally only whatever we tell you guys. That's it. We don't tell you that PIA does anything it doesn't do, and we don't tell you it doesn't do anything it does. Okay, the point is, adding a VPN masks your IP and encrypts traffic to and from your devices. That's it. It's not a magic bullet to make it so that you are an invisible ghost on the internet or anything like that. It's just one of the tools that should be part of any privacy enthusiast's toolkit. It has reliable service with no bandwidth caps. So if you're a filthy pirate, then PIA is not going to be like, hey, you used too much bandwidth this month doing whatever it is that you were doing. They have configurable encryption and an internet kill switch to keep you in control of your connection. And when combined with private browsing, PIA can even make websites think you are in a different country. They allow up to 10 devices at once with clients for Windows, macOS, Android, iOS, and Linux. And I would never advocate for family sharing with a plan. Netflix gets real upset about family sharing. I would never advocate for that, but PIA allows you to connect up to 10 devices at once with clients for Windows, macOS, Android, iOS, and Linux. And they recently launched a dedicated IP option that has absolutely zero connection to your account or to who you are. Not even PIA knows the IP address belongs to you, while you have a smoother experience with the same privacy and security. Because when you're on a VPN, sometimes like every site you go to is going to be like, Cloudflare is checking your thing for 5 seconds. So if you just have one IP, it means when you go back to that site the next time, it's chill. They already have over 24,000 servers in 77 countries, and you can try them risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee at lmg.gg/PIA WAN. So No misleading marketing, ladies and gentlemen. And no, we don't work with any other VPNs, just PIA. PIA, please don't have any big controversies. Thank you very much.
That'd be great.
Yeah, if you guys could just stay chill and awesome and we could just work with you forever, then that'd be awesome. Because honestly, I feel like if we had to go through the whole VPN breakup thing again, I might just be like, Luke, I got some bad news. You're making a VPN. FloatplaneVPN.com.
Only Canada.
Yeah.
That's the only servers we have. Leave us alone. So someone is asking, is it 5 or 10 devices? Someone else responded it was 5. It is now 10. Does that sound correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes we probably still say 5 because some of all the channels have different copy and some of them get updated more often than others. So if you've heard conflicting information from us, it's 10. So there you go.
Oh, geez. AJ just said, nice, I'm in.
No. So we've looked into it enough to know that it's more complicated than it seems. I honestly, I'm so happy to just work with PIA and have them pay us for sponsorship and let them deal with that liability, because I don't feel like, going up against some government that wants me to hand over records or whatever. I don't need that in my life.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great at all.
I just don't. I don't want it. All right.
It sucks. Do you want to talk about
what?
The thing?
Which thing? The thing I'm disappointed about?
Yeah.
I can.
I don't know. I'm not trying to...
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, but I'm not going to give too many details, but basically we had an opportunity to get a new headquarters for Linus Media Group. There's probably some people internally, this will be the first they're hearing about the outcome, because there were kind of rumors swirling. We had talked to some of the management about it, but not everyone. But LMG, Creator Warehouse, Floatplane would have all been able to be consolidated because it was like an absolutely gorgeous and very large site. And unfortunately, we ran into some issues with I don't want to bore you guys with all the details, but something, the area needed city services brought into it in order to be developed. And the existing developer that's doing like a nearby development would have to get all of their development costs reimbursed by latecomers before we would get anything. And it looks like because of that, the numbers are just, they're bad. They're real bad. It was going to cost somewhere in the neighborhood of double what the price of the land was to get the land in a state where it could actually be built on, and would probably take anywhere from 8 to 10 years before we actually walk through the front door of our new headquarters. So I am extremely disappointed. I'm gutted. And I am just going to have to keep searching. We haven't managed to find, we were so excited about this thing. We went as far as having an accepted offer on the property, and it was during the due diligence period where we found all these challenges that were not apparent on the surface that the whole thing fell apart. And another thing that sucks is, hey, you know how, I lost a bunch of money on my GameStop investment? Let me tell you, commercial real estate due diligence costs a lot more than throwing money into game stonks. All right, a lot more. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. That's it. That's my sad story. I was very excited, and now I'm back to the drawing board.
My mic was muted, but yeah. People could probably get actually a pretty good estimate of the cost there. Maybe not that great, but like they're substantial.
Yeah, tens of thousands basically, yeah. And it's down the drain. Like, it's due diligence that just to be, good guys, we're giving it to the seller to be like, hey, maybe this will save you some time. with the next person who comes along. You guys can sort of try to reach a deal, and it won't take so long because we think they are under some pressure to sell, some financial pressure. So we're trying to like help them out because we spent weeks on reports and analysis and consultants.
Better do that than throw it away.
It's useful. Yeah, it's better for them to have it than for us to literally just take all the documents and put it in the garbage. Well, we paid for this, so no one else should have it. Like I'm not. That's not my jam. But I'm still I'm still not stoked on it. 11th gen core lineup unveiled as more reviews leak. Intel gets a little desperate. In total, there are 19 SKUs, 30 including low-end Comet Lake refreshes. So these are just like rebranded 11th gen, but actually last gen. And it's not looking that compelling. There's a lot of overlap. Industry speculation is that the Core i7 11700K and KF will basically offer the same performance as the 11900K because it appears that they are... Wait, are these both 8 cores now? Yeah. Man, they have 8 core. So the i7 and the i9 are both 8 core chips. And it's just that the i9 boosts 300 megahertz higher, but do they both have turbo velocity boost? Right, but you could probably manually... No, okay, the i7 doesn't have turbo velocity boost. But then my understanding is you can basically manually tune that for the most part anyway if you have the patience for it. Or no, not quite. No, not quite. It won't behave quite the same. You can probably get slightly more performance out of TVB if you have an adequate cooler, which is where Intel's like sub-ambient Peltier effect coolers came in. And then they've got 6 cores, 11, that's the i5 range. Yeah, that's basically all i5s are 6 core processors. That is a lot of, wow, how many freaking, that is 19 SKUs of just 6 and 8 core i5s to i9s.
In a lot of places, $50 or less gaps.
Yeah, here, actually, here, I can just throw display capture over here. And Anthony threw this in here. RC Mail posted this on the forum, by the way. But yeah, these are like, but what? Like, okay, so this is a low power one, and this is a not low power one. They're the same price.
Same price.
This is a $10 difference for this one versus this one. Okay,
same price for the other low power one.
You save $15 or $25 for an F, which doesn't have onboard graphics, so that's neat, I guess. Okay. I was really hoping Rocket Lake was gonna really surprise me.
Really gonna take off?
Well, I mean, just because a rocket takes off doesn't mean it can't still explode.
True.
SpaceX taught us this. You can have a successful launch and still have it go boom.
And that can actually still be a good thing, oddly enough.
But at the end of the day, the early reviews, which I personally think we can probably just, treat as reviews. If we were talking about engineering sample silicon, early silicon, sure, fine. But these are retail chips. Like, let's get real. Ridiculous thermals and disappointing performance seem to be the defining traits next to AMD.
Very cool.
Yeah, and speaking of weak marketing, Intel has just decided to make it personal with recently divorced Apple. That is awesome. The fact that they hired Justin Long to talk about how PCs are better. I actually like this move. I think it's really funny. I think it's cheeky. I think it's about time Intel had some attitude instead of just like being corporate and boring. So Justin Long used to be the Mac from the I'm a Mac commercials, for those of you who don't know. And Intel did some ads with him that point out things like that PCs come in all shapes and sizes. They've got touch screens. They've got support for external devices, all that kind of stuff. With that said, I haven't actually watched the spots yet. So, hopefully they're not really bad. Can I just, you know what? Luke, okay, well.
Hello,
I just watched one. There's 5. I watched Having Choices. It's pretty all right. It's pretty good.
Okay. Let me have a look here. Oh, it's in the notes. Okay, he uses a touchscreen. It's on some Asus machine. Another touchscreen. Oh, okay, it's Asus's cool one with the 2 touchscreens. Got a little touch bar. Okay, you know what? They're not bad. They're actually not bad. I think they're fine. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. I'm into it. I think they're funny. I mean, realistically, Rocket Lake is going to be successful enough for Intel just because AMD can't make enough chips, but which one is it? Justin gets real having choices. 16 seconds? Oh, wait, what? Why? Why wouldn't they just have the laptop actually there? I guess doing a screen replace will actually give you a cleaner look sometimes. Oh, wait, shoot. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, Luke said we need to go to 16 seconds and look at his hands. So yeah, I know why they would have done this. Sometimes glare when you're shooting can be very problematic. So just replacing the screen in post can give you a better result. But I mean, that's not great. It's not a good look when you look like you kind of have to motion track your thing.
Let's see over here.
Yeah, that's really not great.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Do you think they should have stuck with the original format?
No.
Just had like 2 people talking? No?
I think this is really personable. I think this is what they were trying to communicate. I'm Justin, I'm a normal guy, and having choice is good. With that said, Intel's going to have to do a lot more than that to combat Apple Silicon. I mean, we've only seen little itty baby Apple Silicon. This basically an iPad processor on roids. Like, that's all we've seen so far. And I don't, the way Mac people were mad at me for describing it that way still makes no sense to me. That's what it is. That's what it always was. It's an iPad chip on roid. I'm not saying the iPad is bad. I never said that. iPad's amazing. We've made a lot of videos lately about how the iPad has become a computer. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is we've only seen little itty baby Apple Silicon. They still have big Apple Silicon coming. And if it's anywhere near as good as, baby Apple Silicon, then Intel has quite the fight on their hands. All right, what else we got, Luke? Why don't you do a topic? I feel like I've been talking the whole time. Sorry.
AMD launches the RX 6700 XT. The Radeon RX 6700 XT launched on Thursday.
Can you pick something less boring?
Okay. Oof.
They launched the 6700 XT. It was not as good as we hoped. There. It was fine.
Yep. I'm kind of surprised you hoped for more. I don't even really think they alluded to being able to promise for more, to be completely honest. But anyways, we can move on. Google slashes Play Store fees with a twist, and this is actually kind of interesting. We've been talking about this for a while, mostly on the Apple side of things, but this is some interesting kind of steps in the right direction.
Yeah.
Google has announced that starting July 1st, 2021, the service fee Google Play receives is being reduced by half, from 30% to 15%. 15% is much closer to in line with a lot of other competing services for the first $1 million of revenue for every developer. Now, this is still terrifying, to be completely clear.
Yeah.
Because if your app takes off at some point and you do have high overhead, losing 15%, I was going to say randomly, but not randomly, right when you cross that line, losing 15% could be horrifying, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. This comes on the heels of a similar cut by Apple, spurred by the ongoing Epic Games legal saga. Google says, "We believe this is a fair approach that aligns with Google's broader mission to help all developers succeed." Yeah, very cool. You're just going to have to make sure that as a developer, you are ready to stomach that 15% loss once you get there. So you're going to have to pay a lot of attention to your income through the Play Store and what that's going to mean for you moving forward. And I'm sure it will be communicated quite openly, but I hope that not just people that read like The Verge are going to know about this. I'm sure they will, but yeah. The most notable difference between Google and Apple's approach is that Google is giving 15% to every developer every year for the first $1 million. That's also a very interesting thing, because I have been talking about how it is a big hit, but it's not a big hit that's going to just like immediately crush your company the second you get over that dollar value.
That's a really cool big difference. It's kind of like how income tax works, where your first, no matter who you are, your first 20,000 is at a very, very low tax rate, and then it scales up from there, but it doesn't increase your taxes on the first. It
makes astronomically more sense to me, because we talked about the Apple approach, and I pushed forward a lot of what I just said of like, you need to be wary of this, whatever. But with the Google one, you need to be wary of it. But if you push the line, the doors of your store don't immediately close if you can't stomach that percentage.
Yeah.
Because you're still making that percentage on the first $1 million. And if you make 50 grand over the $1 million, you're only paying an additional 50% on that.
Yeah.
Or 15. I might have just said 50.
Yeah.
15. That's just that. Yeah. Makes way more sense to me. I think it's very cool. Google notes that about 3% of Android developers actually charge for either downloading their apps or for digital in-app purchases to begin with, and only 1% of those developers make more than $1 million on that threshold. That is true. There is also a lot of developers on the App Store, which are like, would have been me in high school if I was in high school right now, just like posting random stuff. So those numbers are definitely inflated a bit, but it is, I mean, there isn't all that many companies that are going to run $1 million of revenue through one of the various ways to acquire their product. So yeah, I mean, it's very true. I think this is very cool. I mean, I would prefer if it was just 15% always, but the way it's doing it. Sorry?
You're a little biased.
Oh, for sure. Yes. 100%.
Full disclosure, Luke works for a company that develops an app for...
Yeah. So like maybe my opinion on this doesn't matter as much. But I will absolutely give them credit for the way that they're doing it. Doing it on just the first 1 million thing makes a ton of sense. I could even see if they did a different thing. I don't know what number it would have to be. Maybe it was 5 million or something. But like once you crossed that threshold, they were just like, all right, buddy, screw it. You're paying 30 on the whole thing, something like that. I'd even accept that, but just at the very least, making it so that that first transition is smooth is huge.
I was going to say, if anything, I think once you're at like 5 million or whatever, you should be treated like a valued partner and your rate should be lower. I don't think it should be 30% once you're bringing in so much business.
Traditional business works. Yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah. Good point.
It's the middle. It's always the middle class that pays for everyone else, because you have to subsidize the small fish, and the big fish, well, they throw their weight around. So I don't necessarily, there's a lot of problems with that system. Absolutely. But if anything, I would think on something like the App Store, it would make more sense. I don't fundamentally disagree with Epic Games' stance that 30% of their revenue on like $1 billion or whatever is sort of unreasonable for what is essentially a file hosting service. And yes, I'm simplifying. I'm definitely simplifying. But I also think that we only have to look as far as Apple and Google's quarterly disclosures to know that they are immensely profitable in these areas, the Play Store and the App Store, and they could stand to share a little more.
I just think it is so cool that they made that transition smooth, because the fear that a company would have approaching that $1 million mark. Like you'd think as a company, you'd be so stoked. Like, okay, we pushed our revenues on this platform to $1 million. We should have like a company party or something. But instead they're just like, oh God, we're going to lose so much money. And
there's social support programs that are like that too. I remember talking to my sister about one. She was telling me about it and I was just like, what? So the way it works is basically any money that you make comes straight out of the support check. And I was like, why? And She's like,
Yeah,
I
that
don't
just
know, but
encourages not.
yeah, people that I know, they're just like, why would I bother to work? I get paid literally $0 for like doing casual work to try and improve my standard of living. And just because I'm doing some casual work doesn't mean that I don't still need support, that I'm not still disabled. It just means that, basically what it does is it discourages people from transitioning back into the workplace.
Yeah, I hate systems like that because not only does it discourage people from transitioning back into the workplace, but it also directly, heavily encourages like illegal practices.
Absolutely.
Because what's the first thing you'd probably want to do is work
Not
under
declare
the
my
table.
income.
Yeah,
Exactly.
immediately.
So then as a taxpayer, I'm sitting here going, wait, so we are incentivizing these people to hide what little income they have out of fear so that they won't pay any taxes out of fear that what are we trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, like that's just that you're putting a bunch of tape and bureaucracy on something that just needlessly complicates it and makes a bunch of bullcrap happen. It doesn't actually solve any actual problems. It's just so annoying.
Mojo says here about developers of different sizes. The solution is to not let the big fish throw their weight around. The thing is, though, for app developers, even the biggest fish are, they're tuna, okay? They're
Yeah.
getting eaten. They're getting eaten by the real apex predators, which are, of course, Apple, Google, Microsoft, etc.
Megalodons.
I think the megalodons. There was one other topic that I wanted to hit here. Yes, SX8200 Pro bounty update. If you sent us info about your drive from last week, thank you. In total, we received hundreds of emails and found all of the variants we originally asked for and at least 3 more new ones. So I just spent thousands of dollars on potentially crappy SSDs. Thanks, y'all. We can't respond to everyone due to the volume of emails, but we'll reach out to you if your drive is selected as one that we need. We do not need more selections. Thank you very much, everyone. And AMD refuses to limit cryptocurrency mining performance. They basically said, no, we will not be blocking any workload, not mining, not anything else. We're going to keep optimizing for gaming and designing our cards for gaming, but we're not going to hamper their mining performance. And I agree with their stance. That's the same thing I said about NVIDIA's announcement for the 3060. I think it doesn't solve anything, and it's just harming end users for no apparent reason.
Isn't it great when doing absolutely nothing makes you the good guy?
I know, right?
Isn't that awesome?
It's like
you gotta cherish those moments.
Yeah. It's like just sitting and watching your opponent self-immolate. This is fine.
This is cool. Yeah.
Sure. I have an update. Speaking of doing absolutely nothing, we have been doing lots to get the verified actual gamer program running. Man, do you guys have any idea how much this is killing me? I already paid for this hardware. It's sitting in the warehouse. It's ready to go, but we ran into some challenges. There was a bit of a communication snafu, something tariff, something draft orders, something. The system we spend a bunch of time building doesn't work. So Yuki, bless him, the rest of the float plane team, Luke, you too, have been working like crazy to get it working, because the last thing we want to do is have even a single card go into the hands of someone who is not a verified actual gamer. We'd rather be late than to do it wrong. So we're gonna, I should never have said we were gonna launch it last week. I shouldn't have said we were gonna launch it this week. I'm just not gonna say anything. It will go live when it goes live. And if you guys are watching the videos and paying close attention, and if you are an actual gamer and you can verify it, then you will have a chance to get one of these cards. Again, the partners we're working with so far are ASUS, MSI, and AMD. They have all been extremely generous and very supportive of the program. And they were just like, yeah, this is a really cool concept, and you guys will get all the details when that video drops, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later.
A bunch of people in the chat said, why don't you just not sell them to Americans? That would have made this wildly more simple, but is also kind of against the whole idea of it.
Yes.
So we're gonna get it done. It's gonna be okay.
We'll get her done. Yes, the tariffs were one of the most complicated. The tariffs were one of the most complicated things, because A, there's getting the mechanisms working correctly, and B, there's getting the communication right. I don't want to call Americans spoiled, but I will say that from my experience dealing with Americans, they have a lot less experience dealing with things like import duties. They just sort of fundamentally don't really understand why hardware is more expensive in Brazil, say, for example, or, you know, why the price tag goes up at the till. In Canada, we're a lot more used to dealing with it because we live in a very Amerocentric kind of culture, but we're not American. We're sort of third-party observers. So, for example, when a new product launches, unless it's a really major brand like Apple, it is very normal for it to have a price in US dollars and then a price in Canadian dollars, and that price in US dollars is fixed. And then to have a price in Canadian dollars that actually just floats based on the US to Canadian exchange rate. So we've seen it before, a graphics card that goes up 10% in price because the Canadian dollar plummets in 2008, for example. So it's just sort of a fact of life. Or bananas, you know, the price of bananas will just fluctuate wildly week to week, whereas I think a lot of Americans enjoy being in such a large market that they are sort of it's the USD, right? Like they are the price or the sort of go-to-market strategy against which everyone else is sort of pegged and floats around. So enjoy it, you guys. But it would also means that sometimes things happen, like your administration puts tariffs on products from another country, say, for example, China. And when that happens, there is no point taking it out on manufacturers or retailers. It is what it is. And it's not as simple as building graphics cards in America. Sorry. Like the entire supply chain, you know, even just getting the capacitors that would go on the boards would have to be retooled. This is a half a decade operation, not something that can just be, you know, turned on when someone slaps an import tariff on something. So, you know, the last thing we wanted to do was not communicate it properly. If this was a European, for example, they're already used to having something show up with like, you know, $40 in VAT on it. So that's their value add tax. Whereas, like I said, our experience working with Americans is that they're just not accustomed to import duties on things because, well, why isn't it shipped from America? Everything ships from America. And yes, yeah, I mean, most things do, but some things don't. So that's where we're at. So we just want to make sure that it works properly and everything is communicated properly. People like make it Canada only. That would have made it so much easier. That's another thing too, is that our experience dealing with American consumers is that part of not really understanding why this experience is different from everything they've experienced before is being angry about it. And we're not looking to make our community angry. We are looking to put cards in the hands of gamers. That's the whole goal. Let me tell you guys, there is not enough money in this for me for it to be worth making our community angry over at all. If this is not net helpful and people aren't into it, I don't even care. I will send the remaining products back to the distributors and we will discontinue the program. So if you don't get one and you're mad, keep your fucking mouth shut, because if you complain, you're going to ruin it for someone who might have gotten one of the next ones. Could be you. We are doing our absolute best. No, there are not enough cards. No, there are not enough CPUs. Not everyone will get one. But what we are doing is we are making sure that whoever does get one is a verified, actual gamer. That's it.
And to add a little asterisk on that,
yeah,
we can't